Yeah, it appears that the so-called chat has some theme of candy going on. Don't know what time of year it is, but I smell a draft. I smell a draft. Hello, hello, hello. I ain't got that vibrato, J Mike. You might have to show the people.
We're gonna have to work on it, bro.
No, you might. I'm saying you might have to just teach me the ways live. Come on, bro.
No, I think we gotta put in some work. We've gotta stretch your diaphragm out. We've gotta get your vocal cords ready to bring the vibrato needed to close out Mocktober the way that it needs to be done. It's the last show of Mocktober, the Halloween episode, if you will, and the chat has already spoken. Shout out to Mr. Super Duper Flex himself, Bill McCarthy. What up, Bill? We're here for real quick, just a quick draft. We might as well go. So we'll do it like this, Gabe. We'll switch it up. We'll switch things up here. So Gabe, you'll be the 101. Yes. Hogue, you'll be 102.
Nice.
Stompy, you'll be 103. I'll bring up the rear.
Sounds good,
boys.
We will snake this because we can have fun with this. Make this go well here. We're gonna go best Halloween candy. Best Halloween candy.
Just simple as that. Are we cooking up something that we did with the office draft, mixing that into there? Like what does this candy represent as far as a player this year? Are we going deep dive with this? Can we do that right at the top of the show, J Mike, or do we have to,
Listen, Linda, listen.
Uh-huh.
Listen. You can swerve any which way you like. That is totally up to you. The main thing is we must, and I do mean we must, get some sort of explanation. Basically, something that's happened in the fantasy season. You must equate the performance of your candy to how someone's done this season.
Dang it! Why did I say this? Now I have to really
You're welcome.
You're
welcome.
God damn it!
I did not mean to do this. Hold on, I have to go
here
look
for
at
the people.
So it's got to be. So we're going for good candy and good performances.
It doesn't have to even be that.
I'm going
to surprise you with 1.03, and I have a good player in mind for it. So
it can be. Look, Hogue, you can get and here's the thing about you, Hogue. I know that you're incredibly creative. You've got the voice of an angel, and I know that you can come up with some sort of crazy storyline, something weird that's happened in the league, anything. It just has to be something that's happened this season, fantasy related, that speaks to the greatness of your candy. That's really it.
Oh,
I'm just like locked in on Jameis Winston and trying to come up with something gross.
Candy corn.
Candy corn.
Yeah. Don't know.
It might be candy corn. Yeah.
Don't you dare besmirch the name of candy corn.
That's what's going to get us into our first argument of the night.
It's going to get us into our first argument.
Less than 5 minutes into this thing, we're going to argue over candy corn. Like that's the that's the flag you want to carry.
Yeah.
All right. 1.02 candy corn. As long as it falls a spot.
Oh.
All right.
Only I had a good metaphor.
What you got?
Okay. Well, I think I got my 101's easily Reese's. Okay. So I have to do that. What I'm gonna come up with, let's figure that out right now. That's just easily my 101 candy, though. I'm always looking for that one first. And I'm not talking about Reese's Pieces, okay? I'm not talking about your Reese's Fast Break, like just the OG, okay? The circular disc, you know what I'm saying? Kind of looks like a crown of sorts. So I'm going to use that, definitely. And I'm gonna put the crown on Christian, because I want to kiss him. Christian McCaffrey.
Hey,
Get over here, buddy.
Does everything, has everything for a candy.
Exactly.
There's nothing better than peanut butter and chocolate.
And hold on, he's a cheat code because you can put Reese's in the freezer. All right, you can put it into milkshakes. I don't care what you do with you can do the like I used to do a little poke of the hole, poke it through, have some fun with it. There's a lot of variability to this thing, much like Christian McCaffrey. The dude's a cheat code, and he's looking like he's gonna have a top 5 fantasy season ever, which just has to absolutely be recognized. He is certainly winning all of my redraft leagues, and I don't have enough depth in my dynasty leagues where I own him, but he's certainly keeping me in it. And so just happy to watch him. It's just entertaining too. I mean, the dude just balls. So Reese's McCaffrey 101.
Oh, that's so perfect too. Just because like everybody thinks that the chocolate is kind of what makes it, that outside, but inside works too. Inside is just as good. The peanut butter,
an inside runner. Come on.
Exactly, man. That's just so many levels on that one.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I really wanted to go with candy corn at 1.02, just to set Stompy off, but I'll have plenty of opportunities throughout this show. So
see, but it doesn't make any sense for you to go to candy corn because you don't like candy corn.
I don't, but I thought that was the goal here, was just to equate it to a fantasy performance, right?
Well, that's part of it. You pick you just don't listen. Listen to the rules.
Then tell me. Just tell me.
You're supposed to pick a candy, and you're supposed to pick it based off of, I guess, best candy for Halloween, and then equate it to a performance.
So it has to be something that I like. Is that true, J Mike? I'm asking J Mike.
Listen,
right now.
that's kind of where we started.
Okay.
And now we've navigated to a totally different place.
Nice.
That you can have as much fun with this as you'd like, Hogue.
Perfect. There it is. Okay. So we're actually going with Smarties here. And the equivalence is going to be Jameis Winston, because Smarties, unlike candy corn, actually are pretty good sometimes. It's a really random craving. It's really random that those are actually good. But for the most part, I mean, you see all these different colors. You think they're going to be, there's going to be this spectrum of flavor, and it never ends up being the case. You get the same thing every single time, and it's really generally not that good. So yeah, Jameis Winston and Smarties at 1.02.
So I've talked about this with John. John just kind of makes up the rules as he goes. So he just made up his own goddamn rules. Just listen, John.
J-Mike just told me I could do that.
J-Mike, you can't, you got to have a leash for him.
I don't know where you thought you were, Snoopy, but there's not much in the way of leashes or standards or anything around here. We just go with it. You're such an idiot. 103. Why don't you use your energy to tell us how amazing your choice is here?
I'm gonna irritate some people here because I saw in the chat that candy corn was equated to Brashad Perryman. Get out of here. Candy corn is delicious, first and foremost. It's a classic Halloween candy.
So wrong.
And you could just eat that stuff by the fistful. What is wrong with you people?
I enjoy candy corn, Stompy. I'm with you for what it's worth.
I don't know if you guys have heard of the comedian Lewis Black, but he has a pretty funny bit. I'm not going to do it justice here, but it basically says all of the candy corn in existence was made before World War I, and they just recycle it every time. They go and grab it out of trash cans and recycle it. I actually like candy corn, so I'm going 1.03 with candy corn, and I am going to equate it to an old, faithful, oldie but goodie here in Tom Brady. As much as I hate Tom Brady, he is the QB 10 right now. He has 2 games under 20 points, 1 game under double-digit fantasy points. And the dude just keeps going. And he's in the season. What season is he in? 19, 20, whatever. But he's in like his 40s, and the dude just keeps producing. So he's an oldie but goodie, just like candy corn.
You got the oldie part right. I know that much. Okay, I guess I'll rock with that. Shout out to Josh in the chat. Candy corn is Bishop Sankey. I am
erroneous. Erroneous.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So at 104, and I'm not prepared to snake this, but I will at least give my final entry here into the fourth pick here. I'm gonna go with wild berry Skittles. Not just normal Skittles, but the wild berry ones. That's for those keeping track at home. That's the purple pack.
Oh shit!
Yeah, man. It's like purple drink. It's like the purple drink of Skittles. It is fantastic. It's got the dark purple Skittle. It's got the dark blue Skittle, both of which you can only find in the wild berry pack. And the reason I'm going with that is because I'm going with the running back who is doing his best beast mode impression right now in Seattle. A man points per game wise, who's doing absolute work. He's 13th on the season in points per game in PPR leagues. Mr. Chris Carson. Yes. I did not. I was sure Rashad Penny preseason would end up usurping as we say, Gabe. He would end up usurping
high fructose
Chris Carson.
Usurping.
Yeah, 100%. And I like Chris Carson even his first season. I just figured he'd do like most Seattle running backs did, which was fall apart basically since beast mode, and he's done anything but. So Chris Carson, easily Wildberry Skittles at this point. He's absolutely fantastic, doing his best impression of the original Marshawn Lynch. He is making a lot of people very happy in fantasy leagues, including one Stompy in Trade Addict 6, where he traded earlier in the season for him. So yeah, Chris Carson, go scoop him up.
The electric playmaker.
Yeah, I can't really take credit for. I mean, I do love Chris Carson, but the guy that loves Chris Carson the most is the other guy on this podcast. I'm not going to give him credit for anything, but
can't even say my name anymore. Candy corn.
You're mediocre at best.
Just eat your candy corn. Man.
I will put it on my teeth like vampire teeth, son.
Ooh, segues.
I like that.
Well, okay, let me introduce the show first.
Yeah, let's do that. All right,
so welcome in to the open bar. It is Tuesday, October something, 29th. Cool. And it is 9:30 Eastern-ish. It is the last October open bar. I have not been here in so long. I missed you, J Mike, for one. The most, not just through a camera, but just physically, the physical touch, the
feel of cotton, the fabric of our lives, some might say.
I miss that. But I also missed yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
You know who I see too much these days? John.
Mm-hmm.
I see him too much. We talk too much. Like, we need to keep it to once a week, John, because you and I just have too much rage against each other. We're too grumpy.
Yeah,
we're grumpy old men. It's fine.
I know. And we just kind of gravitate towards those wedge issues, apparently. I had no idea that we disagreed so vehemently on candy corn. Like, I really thought that everybody just understood that stuff is trash, but...
Oh no, you just have horrendous taste. It's fine.
Wow.
That's our love. I love John. I love John, but we have a lot of anger issues that we work out on each other.
How about let's get something that you two can agree on. What about that other like peanut shit candy, like the one that's like shaped like peanut? I don't even know like what flavor that, if it's even like flavored like peanuts.
Oh, like the orange, the circus
peanuts. Yeah,
that's gross.
Okay, John.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Most peanut like peanut butter things. There's those. I mean, it's like taffy, but it's like peanut butter flavored, and it's in like little wrapped in wax paper that's either black or orange.
Are you talking about bits of honey?
Yes.
No, not bits of honey. Those are actually good, but no, these things are
they
like
take too long though. Like, and if they get stuck to your teeth, oh man,
yeah,
it's so good though.
It's like Corey Davis.
Yeah.
Hey.
you know, he gives us that little glimmer of hope, and then he goes for like one catch for 8 yards, and it was just like, oh well. I guess that's about right.
Not sure if you guys ever had these relationships in high school or not, but the girl that showed you just enough attention and flirted with you just enough to make you feel like, oh man, I really think she likes me. But then the rest of the time, like she's kicking it with your best friend, and she's actually going on dates with him. Was that just me that was getting drug as a high schooler? Yep. Okay, great.
Nope.
Airing out my adolescent failures here. Okay, great. So anyway, that's who Corey Davis is to me. I give all my attention, all my love, all of my support, and then all of a sudden, wait, why are you going with him to the movies? Okay, cool. I'll just sit here.
Oh, I'm the backup. I'm the one you keep hanging out for a while, and maybe I have a chance. No, I don't.
No. Okay. I mean, I'm healthy enough to play. You gonna bring me off IR? Or, no? Okay.
Excited for Nikhil. Very excited. All right. Look, we're live. There's two guys on the show. They're on a show together. They do stuff. You might know both of them already. If you don't, here they are. John Hogue. Addison, John Ho, are you still on that show? You're
no.
Oh, geez.
They're
gonna ask me to change up the name again, aren't they?
Now you gotta try to really rhyme something here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Addison.
I see you dubbed over
Addison, Stewart, Green.
I don't know. Just hit him with just when you re-record it. Addison. Insert name here.
Yeah.
Well, the problem
Addison, is blank name.
The problem is this time it was Addison who kind of ghosted that podcast. So if it still exists, I'm still a co-host, and then now you've got to figure out how to replace Addison's name, and it's probably going to be something with just one syllable. That's
the problem, is that Addison. I mean, it's just the 3 syllable is a rarity to just throw in like that. I mean,
yeah,
I'm done saying y'all's names and intros. Okay, Aton and Stompy as a team, you're unstoppable. Okay, y'all better not break up, because that's a bar. Okay, there's nothing else that fit better than that. Okay,
that's actually why I wanted to come on the show today. We have some bad news. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Shit, I'm about to end that broadcast, bro.
Oh, dude, he's booted. He's booted. Get Stompy off of the screen.
Done.
Also, you can't retire, Gabe, until you actually make my name rhyme with something.
Come on, all right.
So close.
I know. Well, welcome, guys. It is genuinely good to see both of you and have you on. So
awesome to be back, man.
Yeah. Shall we get into it? We missed the segue of candy corn going up in place of your incisors. Because it's vamp season, baby. Okay, it's J Mike, it's Bun. All right, we're what are we? 500? We got 4 wins on these fools.
Yes.
Wow.
In the Superflex Super Show, Vampire League. And Hogue, do you want to give a brief rundown for those that may not understand what a Vampire League is before we even continue? Obviously we've got several divisions. We get to be one of the vampires, our show does, but drop some knowledge on the people real quick before we brag a little bit about our vamp life right now.
Oh, gladly. Yeah. So it's a six division league, and each division has its own vampire run by one of our favorite podcasts. So we've got, besides the Superflex Super Show, obviously the Open Bar, we also have the Trade Addicts podcast, the Trades HQ podcast, Dynasty Game Night, and then Tom Kislingberry from the Read and React IDP, mostly because he was the one who invented the concept of the vampire, which is really cool. So basically, 12-team division. One of those 12 is the vampire. The other 11 get to actually participate in the startup draft, put their team together, 20-round draft. The vampire gets one pick. When the 12th quarterback went off the board, the vampire gets to jump in, select a quarterback. And beyond that, the vampire gets absolutely nothing. You get to put your team together from waivers after the draft. And then you don't get rookie draft picks. You can trade for them. But every time you win, every time you beat one of these teams, you get to feast, so to speak. You get to steal one of their players, take a bite into their neck as your power grows. And when a vampire finally wins this entire league, the era of darkness begins and the league ends.
And what a great wind up for something that's going to end so soon. Man, spend all that time explaining the league, setting the league up, getting all the rules out to everyone, organizing things. Tragedy.
Trader Joe, we're going to talk about it here in a second. We're going to talk about this here in a second because we're going to start a second fight. This is fight number 2 for us tonight. So, I think it came down to, was it Trubisky, Lamar Jackson, and it didn't really matter, the third one.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan. So Matt Ryan wouldn't have been bad either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people associate me with my Lamar Jackson love.
That's not what I associate you with.
What do you associate me with?
I associate you with being wrong about freaking everything.
Good quarterback calls? Good quarterback calls. Gotcha.
Other than Lamar Jackson.
Well, and Ryan Tannehill taking over for Mariota. We can get into that later. Mahomes last year.
Can put that on your resume. Cool.
Obviously, I was the one that I pounded the table for Lamar Jackson, but apparently I didn't fight hard enough.
No.
Because John and James decided that, no, Mitchell Trubisky's the guy because he's going to take another step forward with Matt Nagy, and he's also got the running ability. And John, you want to tell me why you didn't like Lamar Jackson?
Because this is a long-term proposition.
Okay.
This, in theory, I mean, we did the Vampire League last year. It folded because we lost one of our 3 vampires, but I mean, between the 3 vampires last year, there was 1 win. So we felt like this is going to take several years to build this up. We need a quarterback who's going to be around for us all the way through until we're actually ready to start winning some games. I mean, lo and behold, we've already won 2 games, even with Mitchell Trubisky, by the way. Open Bar has apparently won 4. I didn't realize that you guys won that many already. And we just
in the playoffs, that's all.
Yeah. we just barely lost this week, by the way, by about 1/5 of a point. So we're still waiting for that stat correction. But there have been a lot of vampire wins this year, which was totally unexpected. But so the idea was that we want a quarterback who's going to be around for a while we try and build this thing up, which means we don't want a running quarterback who is going to be an injury risk going forward, especially when you tried to sell us on the idea that his floor, quote unquote, his floor is 1,000 yards rushing.
What is he on pace for right now?
I have no idea. That's not his floor.
Excuse me. What's he on pace for right now?
I told you I don't know, but that doesn't matter. That's
No,
not.
it does.
It's not his floor.
Oh, it is though.
No, it's not.
So he has. I apologize. I have to go down to the. I have to look stuff up here. 576 yards in 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to guess what he's on pace for?
No, I really don't. I mean, that sounds like math, and that's not what I'm here for.
I think you really want to guess what he's on pace for.
He's on pace for his ceiling. How about that?
He's on pace for over 1,300 yards.
Yeah, that sounds
on the ground.
That sounds like a nice ceiling for sure.
Okay, let's look at what his pace, what he did last year. Guess what he was on pace for last year in games that he started.
What did he actually do?
Well, he did 695 and 7 or total. Now I would have to subtract. So here, well, I think it was 79 yards per game in the 7 games he started.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere Peter Howard is just beaming with pride as you crunch numbers.
12. He was on pace for over 1,200
Manually.
last year. Uh-huh. So, which one's his floor?
I mean, at this point, his floor is 695, I guess.
Oh, in 6 games though, or in 7 games though.
Okay, that's the worst that he's done so far. So that's his floor.
I mean, you're trying to manipulate words here. But here's the funny thing: which one of those 2 quarterbacks we're talking about got injured?
Trubisky did get injured. I mean, that's not what we're talking. We're not talking about
how many
injury.
How many starters that started the season are injured right now, or have gotten injured at one point this season?
Oh, I don't know. I
would say about half.
If you know, just say it.
I don't know. I actually don't know, but I would say about a double-digit teams.
Okay, but are they going to come back?
Do you know who's not involved in that, or who wasn't injured this season?
I know that Lamar Jackson has not been injured yet. I get that. That is immaterial. That does not matter here.
Stupid Stompy.
Stompy face. I love it.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You're honestly going to argue that a quarterback who's going to take off and run, double digits every single game is going to have a longer career than Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes has missed time with injury here already.
Yep, yes.
And Lamar Jackson's going to have a longer career.
I'm not saying he's going to have a longer career. Who the
That's
hell
what
is
you're saying, though. That's exactly.
I am not what I'm not
you're
saying
trying to argue here.
I am not trying to argue that.
You're trying to argue that Lamar Jackson, without an injury history, is safer than Pat Mahomes. And
I did not. That is, you are manipulating words yet again here, trying to manipulate what I'm trying to say. All I'm saying is, guess who's not injured, who hasn't been injured? And guess what? We're not playing dynasty fantasy football for 20 goddamn years.
It might take that.
It will not. You said
home league, Stompy.
Only because
oh God.
Only because Open Bar is going to close us down after 1 year.
Do you remember
that was coming.
Do you remember what we've won? We've won 2 games with Mitchell Trubisky as our starting quarterback.
Yeah, so it was a good pick.
Oh,
we won 2 games.
Did you just say that sure was a good pick?
Apparently, we won more games just by ourselves.
You see,
3 vampires combined last year.
I'm dealing with. This is the stuff I deal with weekly. Oh my God.
So,
all right, so I neutralized Stompy.
You didn't neutralize me. This is not. You did not. You've lost this argument.
I don't believe that at all. I don't see.
Just to give you guys a one of those what they call them, water breaks, real quick.
Thank you.
Okay.
So in the Open Bar division, we too likely, I guess, made up mistake at quarterback with our pick at quarterback, taking one Cam Scam Newton, who has contributed squat to our team this season. However, our overall strategy of just loading up on tight ends in this heavy tight end premium has paid absolute dividends. Darren Waller, hello. What's up, big fella?
Apparently people didn't want to listen to us when we were saying Darren Waller's a 6'5", 250-pound tight end who can run a 4.4 40. He's a monster of a person.
But you do realize that when you ask people that, specifically in the preseason, you're asking them to buy the randomness that they saw on Hard Knocks and the fact that it's the Raiders. Like, I mean,
and I think I get that, but at the time, I think he was like the 20th tight end taken off the board. So you were getting him in double digit rounds when you were picking, and it's not like that is much of a risk. It was really a low risk, high reward pick if you picked him.
This is a 20-round draft too, and it's tight end premium. I mean, I even though it's super flex, the points they score, tight end score, I think it's easily worth a shot.
Speaking of tight ends, I want to play a quick game. Let's play a quick game. You guys are gonna hate this, and I'm gonna be excited for it. This is gonna be these are tight ends in points per game who are in the top 12. Tight ends, points per game, top 12. I'm gonna say a name. You simply say either yes, he's in the top 12 points per game, or no, he's not. All right.
Oh wow.
Top 12 points per game. Eric Ebron.
No.
Oh, I know he's just right there. No.
Correct. Eric Ebron, 8.2 points per game. It puts him at 15th.
I bet you I can actually double up on this and get extra credit and tell you where these guys are placing. I have to study this literally every week. So
okay. Jacksonville's James O'Shaughnessy.
Well,
no.
On a per game basis,
he only got to play what, 5, 6?
He's played in 5 games.
5, yeah.
Is he? Yep, 5 games.
I think he is.
O'Shag Hennessy.
I think he's back in, so yes.
On the 5 games, yeah.
Because he had like 3 straight with touchdowns, I believe.
Okay. Hogue, what you got?
I'm saying no.
Okay. James O'Shaughnessy, tight end, 14 in points per game, 8.3. We'll keep it moving here. Greg Olsen.
Are you just going
Carolina's
15,
Greg,
14, 13, J-Mike?
Carolina's Greg Olsen.
I'm going to say no.
No,
he's been bad the last few weeks.
Yeah, I'm saying no.
Yeah, he put up a dud last week. Sure. Yes. I don't care.
Greg Olsen, your 11th overall tight end.
Really?
9.3 points per game.
You guys have a podcast? My goodness.
I got a couple more names here. TJ Hawkinson.
No. Unless he's riding that first game where he scored like 80 touchdowns.
I think he's tight end 17 right now.
Yeah, I'll say no.
You guys are correct. Tight end 16 on the season. Last name here. I'm going to throw you guys for a loop here. Mr. Darren Fells.
Yes.
Houston tight end.
Yes.
Got
He's
it.
had a huge few weeks.
Tight end 10 on the season, points per game.
Gross.
So for those scoring at home, the names right now that you probably did not anticipate being tight end ones, perhaps a Darren Waller. Hello. Austin Hooper is the tight end 1 on the season. Hello. Skip all the way down here to Will Big Montana Disley, who was 8 on the season in points per game before he was hurt. Darren Fells out of nowhere. Jason Witten back from the MNF booth grave, along with a bunch of names kind of hovering there. Your Gerald Everett's, Eric Ebron, TJ Hawkinson, Jimmy Graham, who we can't start correctly ever. Anytime we start him, he does garbage.
He finally saved our ass, though.
For once.
We literally needed a catch from him.
I find tight end really interesting this year because they're the ones that are scoring are like booming for you, balling. And we
What
usually
I mean, what
get
what are
upset about
these
it.
guys in Dynasty or whatever? Hooper, Waller, Andrews, Fells, Disley, I guess, Everett, Olson, Witten, like Graham, Ebron, like those guys, like all beyond, round 9, 10 or whatever. Hooper might be a little higher in Dynasty, I guess, but like, holy cow. Just it never matters. It just never matters. Even like the Zach Ertz isn't certainly holding up to his draft value and Kittle either. I think Kelsey is the only one that's relatively close, but still not even worth it. God, what a wasteland. Just you have to make it a premium. It has to come to that, like and maybe even the 2 tight end league is interesting to me. Or even just another, like a super flex, but a super tight end flex kind of thing. And where there's a premium for, tight ends. So, much like this Family where we're just stacking tight ends, but they just don't matter.
I've been playing in, a couple super flex tiered PPR. Like I think the Dino Diagnostic listeners league is 0.5 PPR for RB, 1 PPR for wide receiver, and 1.5 for a tight end. And I think that levels the playing field a little bit for tight end, but then you also have the super flex portion of it where quarterbacks actually matter. And I think that kind of levels everything out in terms of every position.
Yeah.
And that's friend of the pod, John Bosch. He often talks about the as you would say, Stompy, the erroneous.
You gotta do it like Vance. You gotta do it like Vince Vaughn. Erroneous on both counts.
He often talks about how erroneous that is for tight end premium, but say what?
I said you still didn't do it. Give him some energy. Come on.
My bad. Erroneous.
Better?
All right. I got kids sleeping, man. My bad.
Yes.
So and I'm just curious, what do you guys think in leagues? If you're either in a startup or about to do a startup, what kind of premium? I'm just curious your thoughts. What premium is either too much or what makes sense? Like, do we need to start multiple tight ends to make it work? Or is it a case where, like in Trade Addict 6, shout out to Russ and Brian, I think this 1.75 points per reception for tight ends in that league. What makes sense? Because in that league, definitely tight ends make a huge difference. But what I don't know, and this isn't something that we've got to go deep into, but I'm just curious when we talk about tight end premium, like what actually makes sense for leagues.
I don't know that you need one necessarily, to be honest. It's a little bit dependent on the season. Obviously, I mean, the last few seasons have been pretty bad at tight ends. Like you've got to give them some kind of boost. But this season, I mean, and we're seeing it, in this vampire league where the vampire or the tight ends really have kind of the highest floor, especially when you get into the kind of the flex range of wide receivers. I mean, we can generally see it coming with the tight ends better than with the wide receivers. And they just give you, like I said, that safer floor to a point where, a lot of times, even in straight PPR, I've got some leagues where I'm flexing a tight end. Even though I've got reasonable options at wide receiver, guys like Auden Tate, and I'm still flexing. Jonnu Smith this past week was a much better start for me. So it's been pretty consistent. I guess if and we don't know that it's going to be that way every single season. So maybe the way to go is actually a second tight end position. But I don't know that you necessarily need to give them a boost.
The thing is when you start 2 of the same position, it makes more sense with quarterbacks because they score a lot of points, and there's not a huge difference, like huge difference from QB1 to QB20 in comparison to tight end 1 and tight end 20. that like that difference is just so massive. So I mean, you can award the points, I suppose, and get it higher. But I mean, I'm still looking at this the top 50 or so in your premium there, Hogue, for the Vamps, and I mean, there's about 5 or 6 tight ends in the top 50, which is still not a lot, and it's just heavily littered with QBs everywhere, of course, but then running backs and wide receivers pretty equally, I would think. So it's just, you can give them all the points you want, but whoever said it that no tight ends, like that's yeah. So sorry, tight ends.
Well, and I think the way the league is shifting now, I mean, if you look at those tight ends, a lot of them are moved tight ends. I mean, Travis Kelce is largely a moved tight end. Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram, George Kittle can do blocks well on his end line. But I think Austin Hooper is more of a move, maybe not. Darren Waller is definitely a move tight end. So it's becoming where basically you're getting these big, fast tight ends, and they're being more involved in the pass game. So while maybe right now it's not a great position and you do need those premiums, maybe in the future, as more and more tight ends become more and more relevant, then you can take the premium off of those tight ends.
And I'm really curious, specifically in those leagues where it is a premium, why more people don't employ like just a tight end heavy strategy, right? So even though, like you just said, Gabe, you said 5 of the top 50 were tight ends. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and overall points.
So even in those instances where those guys are getting the heavy duty work, like that's at least like money in the bank that you can probably count on, even though they're not like killing it. So as opposed to throwing darts at like wide receiver 5s and whatever else, like why wouldn't you just go for broke on tight end in those instances? I'm just curious. I mean, we are. I'm not for you guys, just in general.
I mean, we just took scraps that we could,
Right.
We need to score the best answer. Even in SFB, and no, that's not reception, but I know that tight ends seem to do pretty well on the point per first down. So people went heavily on tight ends in that format as well. And maybe that's part of the formula to make it more equal across the board.
All right. I can dig that. What else?
And that'll do it for
Vamping. God, bye. Good night. Yeah.
All right. All right.
That was oh boy.
So we speaking of tight ends, we took Austin Hooper from our opponent.
Nice.
So happy. Just so happy.
God, we were 0.3 points away from another win, and we could have gotten one of Deshaun Watson. Now I have to look, but I mean, we could have gotten like huge because our first win, we got Dak. We took Dak. And then our second one, we took Leonard Fournette because Zeke was blocked with their first. And then with this latest one, and we're really hoping for a stat correction here for anybody, really, because all we need is that 0.3 points.
Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin.
Yep.
Travis Kelce.
So, yeah, I mean, it would have been Kelce, Godwin, or Deshaun Watson. It probably would have been Kelce. Well, probably more Kelce or Deshaun Watson. I don't really know. So if we get that stat correction and get one of those, we're going to be on the fast track.
That's good. Let me ask you this, John, and this is just a full-on pivot from a lot of what we were just talking about. John Hogue, Trade Addict 6. I'm not really a trade and tail, kiss and tell kind of guy. However, I've got my eyes on an Amari Cooper that you've got that I'm not sure you have much use for this season, and just want to be able to figure out. I don't know if we can get some live action schmoozing here that I can wine you, dine you, maybe scoop Cooper off your hands here. Not that you've got to give me an answer right now, but I kind of want to rub this in the face of the chat if we can make this happen at some point. Maybe have Stompy tilt for no good reason.
Yeah.
in the event that we could work something out in TA6. So
I'm sure we can. No one is untouchable with the possible exception of my draft pick. That now that it's back home, nice and safe, I can guide it all the way to 1.01.
So and that begs two questions. One, and Gabe, I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this. So we've got Amari Cooper coming back. He's been hurt, but obviously he's been very good when playing this season. Don't bench Amari Cooper, whatever you do. What's the general price right now? If I'm trying to schmooze Hogue into Amari Cooper, I believe I probably have the assets to get this done. Not probably, I do. I definitely do. What's the general price on Amari Cooper right now? Wide receiver 1 in Dallas. He is. I'll look up his numbers here in a second. But is he under contract for next season, or he's not under contract for next season?
Ooh,
don't believe he
Where's
is.
Aton?
I don't think he is. I don't. He's not. He's not.
Yeah.
Okay. So not under contract yet because apparently he's at the back of the line there of Jerry World. Zeke was first. We'll see about what happens with Dak or whatnot. What's a price to pay, or what do you think you'd want for Amari Cooper if you're selling him? Well, what's his just general value? Wide receiver 5, by the way, in points per game this season, right behind Mike Thomas, Godwin, Kupp, and Evans.
Well, now we wish that James was here because James is the Amari Cooper hater. Goddamn.
Just for a little context too, I'm in total rebuild mode. Like I said, my pick is easily going to be 1.01, especially now that I control that. So
not if you keep putting Cooper out there, man. You're gonna have to trade him here.
Well, it's
no, he's got no choice. 101's his.
it's bad, man.
No disrespect, Hogue. Yeah,
No.
You got 101 offline.
It's by design at this point. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Saquon got traded. Aaron Jones got traded. Yeah, right now. So this week I started both Oakland running backs, and it wasn't Josh Jacobs. I don't own Josh Jacobs.
So you started 2 Oakland running backs. Just one.
Yeah. Jalen Richard and DeAndre Washington were, and that wasn't. I mean, this is totally above board too. This wasn't me. That wasn't a tank move. That's legitimately my best running backs this week. That was the best I could put out there at running back.
Is this true from FF Trader Joe in the so-called chat? TA is a lottery for 101 to 106.
Ew.
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
Are we scared now?
How many firsts do you have?
So I've got 3. 2 of them look like they're tracking for that top 6 range. So yeah, I'm still good with that. But
is it like NBA
weighted
lottery?
Though?
Yeah,
weighted
NBA
though?
lottery.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I think
screw that up.
Yeah, is that true?
Now you're thinking about everything that's going on.
I mean,
what the?
Unless Dynasty Outhouse is gonna freeze a ping pong ball on me, that's the only way, because I'm gonna have all the rest of the ping pong balls in that thing.
Do you? Oh, it is weighted.
FF Trader Joe does confirm that it is weighted in the chat. Come in live to the open bar every Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern-ish. Come into the YouTube live chat. Get answers quick, just like that, about leagues that you're in. Or people on Twitter. Or
we don't even know what our rules are. Whatever.
Now I know that Joe. I don't remember which league. I think Joe's in TA3. But the thing is, as I'm looking at these bylaws here, it says The draft order for the rookie draft will be decided by reverse order of standings at the end of the fantasy regular season and opposite order of playoff finish for the good teams. So it doesn't say anything about a lottery or anything of that nature. So I don't know if they change that up basically for later trade addicts leagues, but according to this, it does not look like there's any sort of lottery. So you might be safe, Hope. We'll have to clear that up with Russ.
We have to clear it up with FF Trader Joe because
now he's saying TA3.
Yes, that is true. Okay, who's the real commission of these and what is Trader Joe is in all of these people's pockets?
Trader Joe's everywhere, bro. Trader Joe's everywhere. He's a man. FF Steal Your Girl. Look him up. Actually, don't look him up.
FF Steal Your League, bro. FF Steal Your League.
Yeah, back to Amari. I don't want to leave this. What's Amari's value now? Will you take 2 firsts for Amari?
No, the bag.
What's the bag look like?
He's going to be if he keeps this up as this is what people wanted. And this is where he was being drafted 2-3 years ago in top 10 of dynasty leagues. And that's where he's heading if he has a top 5 season, even probably a top 10 season. He's going to be back. He's already, I just looked 17, 18, 19, somewhere around there. And he's going to climb in November, December ADP. He'll be up there. I'm not selling now. So yeah, you can maybe buy for 2 firsts now, J Mike. Go ahead and get that from Hogue. And then
I heard that, by the way. All of that.
All of it.
So it's got to be at least 2 firsts. I mean, especially if you're selling a young wide receiver, right? And he's relatively young still.
And I guess it is super flex, so you can take that into consideration.
How old is
in trade addicts? That is.
Mark Cooper's only 25 still. So yeah, I mean,
insane
for a rebuild. If you're trading away a wide receiver, it's got to be at least 2 firsts, right?
Well, and the other problem,
and likely like a prospect or something, like somebody else who's young and pretty decent.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've got to get. I have to get a wide receiver in return here.
I have.
I'm not going to tell everyone else what they have to do, but for me, because I mean, it's fun loading up on draft picks. At the moment, I've got 3 firsts, 2 seconds, and 3 thirds or something like that. So that's all good, but the problem is that's not really going to do a whole lot for my rebuild. I mean, I'm just going to end up with a bunch of running backs in the draft, and then
they can stomp his dreams.
Yeah, you are. No, I mean,
I'm going to feel like I'm still in a rebuild.
Don't get it wrong, though. I mean, this wide receiver class, and I don't know if Zach is still in the chat or not, but this wide receiver class is also extremely deep. Like the running backs are extremely good, and they overshadow the wide receivers, but when you take into consideration Jerry Jeudy, Colin Johnson, Ty Johnson, Brian Edwards, and I'm blanking on names now, but I know I'm missing a ton of good wide receivers.
Yeah.
You can still get wide receivers in the draft. You're just not probably going to compete until the following season.
That's the thing, yeah. But the running backs are going to be ready right away. Wide receivers aren't going to be ready for a year or 2. So, it just creates this inefficiency on your roster that it would just keep me in a perpetual rebuild if I don't start putting together some young wide receivers to build around. Those draft picks are just kind of lost on me.
So what I like to do when I'm rebuilding is actually trade everything for picks. And then once people start to get like that rookie fever, and that hype, then I start trading away those picks for players. And that my rebuilds only last a year because of that. So that's a recommendation for you as well. How many firsts you said you had? 3 firsts,
3,
multiple seconds, multiple thirds.
Yeah.
See, I would do it that if you have do you have good QBs? I'm not looking at your,
I've got Marcus Mariota.
So
no,
you do not.
No, so I have Daniel Jones, Kyle Allen, and I'm waiting for Cam Newton to get back.
Wow, you have a team with Cam Newton. I'm low key shocked by that, actually.
That's not great. Those are not great quarterbacks.
It's fine. It's
fun.
That gif with the fire all around.
Yeah,
me.
that's
This
the first thing I thought of.
Big time.
Everything's
Oh,
fine.
this is fine.
Your skin's melting off. It's fine.
I mean, that league for me has been from the beginning. I mean, at the very beginning of the startup, I traded my entire draft to Bill Lattin for his entire draft at 101. Plus, I gave up my first and I think my second, and I got him back later. But I traded all that just so I could get Saquon Barkley. Everybody who listens to Superflex Super Show knows that I had no interest in Saquon Barkley. I have no interest, especially in a Superflex league like that. I have no interest in running backs until everything else is put together. But I just wanted to see how it feels to have Saquon Barkley on your roster. And admittedly, it was something for sure. But now here I am in total rebuild mode. I had to sell Saquon Barkley by week 5. But now with all those draft picks, now I get to see what rookie fever feels like and go make those draft picks and then rebuild again next year. Trade them all away for more picks.
So you just got to embrace those running backs, man. and then you have to be like me and understand how good some quarterbacks are than others. Lamar Jackson,
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes, and pick those guys later, and not Marcus Mariota.
Okay. I missed out on Aaron Rodgers because I traded out of that 10 pick where I absolutely would have took him, and he didn't fall to me at my second pick. So yeah, that ruined my entire draft, and I was scrambling.
I found it hilarious that you of all people, all summer long, all forever, as long as I've known your voice and been able to chop it up with you, the fragility of the running back position.
Yep.
I finally get in the league with you, and what do? Trade Saquon Barkley in the startup, and I'm just to kind of watch you like not even get through the season, but just be like, no, I'm not doing this. Just nope, we're done. That's one of the more hilarious things that's ever happened in my life.
I mean, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was like taking a Viagra. And I mean, it was the same effect immediately, and it lasted all of 4 hours.
About 4 weeks.
Yeah. I was like, and then it wore off, and I was like, what have I done? This is just now I have to go back to a life of impotence.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
You are pretty impotent, yes. That was a very yeah, John, I don't know if this is like you're pulling
that one up for you, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you're pulling this out of real life or what. Like that felt too specific.
Yeah.
This is happening. This is happening. Okay.
Boner alert.
All right. So
Went John
so
Rogue
essentially-
with the Viagra.
Hey, John's going.
There you go, John Hogue going rogue. There you go. You got
Hey.
your rhyme.
There's your bar. Yeah.
There it is. There's your bar. Yeah. So Amari Cooper. Well, let me ask you guys this, just in terms of where people are finishing right now in terms of their production. Who would you rather have, Amari Cooper or Cooper Kupp?
Cut.
Dynasty.
Cut.
Oh my god.
You should take Cooper Kupp. Shut up, Gabe. You're just getting proved wrong.
It is
Get me the fuck out of here.
No, I have to know, Jay. Did you do that on purpose?
He was the first name that I did on purpose. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hogue, what do you say?
I think I'm gonna stick with Amari.
Okay.
Don't you want to ask
Gabe?
me?
Go ahead, Gabe.
Okay.
No, not really.
We already know that answer there, Gabe.
I will say this: we do have one episode of the Open Bar that was named after Cooper Kupp. We do not have any Amari Cooper named episodes. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And I'm not going to say that you normally name the episodes. I'm not going to say that that's your choice typically. I'm not going to act like that, but those are the facts as currently listed today, October 29th, the last Tuesday of October. Don't you look at me with that face. Don't you give me that look of just utter frustration and get the F out of here. I don't want that. I don't want that. You're looking at me with that disappointed look that a father gives his son. My father never gave me that look because he wasn't around, but
oh my God.
But that's what I see right now.
I'm gonna have to make a spiteful title.
Now this is named Amari Cooper. Just there, you happy, Jay? Amari Cooper.
It won't even have the hashtag in the front. It's just going to be named Amari.
Yeah. And they might all just be named Amari Cooper until I say otherwise. Amari Cooper 1, Amari Cooper 2.
Bill McCarthy with the elbow drop from the top rope right here. This is pretty perfect. There it is.
Yeah.
Last week of October, I'm all right. Well done, Bill. That's good.
And appreciate that. Very well done.
Right, well, you're gonna have some news here coming in your inbox, John. I'm just gonna throw that out there now.
Nice. Better do this on air.
So we have a couple trades to consider for that Vampire League here.
Talk about it.
You offered them, or they were offered to you?
We were offered one, and I kind of shifted it around and offered two back. So we picked up the stash, and if anybody doesn't know who that is,
Shuval,
get out. But we picked up the stash with all of our blind bid money after week one, obviously.
We missed that, J-Mike.
And he has actually helped lead us to a couple wins. But we now have Ryan Finley, because we talked about this last week that on Superflex Super Show, that Andy Dalton is probably not long for this world in terms of the NFL world. He's not going to die. It's okay, everybody.
Hold on. Did you just say Shandy Dalton?
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
Oh, you didn't.
No, I
okay,
didn't.
Well, that's a great name. Carry on.
So we picked up Ryan Finley. We have Kyle Allen. We have Dak. We have Trubisky. I'm just gonna let you stew in that for a little bit. God damn it, just so dumb. And then we have Gardner Minshew, and so we have 5 starting quarterbacks right now. Looking to sell. Somebody just offered us DJ Chark and a second next season for Gardner Minshew, which is very interesting because we do need help at wide receiver. I went back and did DJ Chark and Gerald Everett for Gardner Minshew, or Amari Cooper for Gardner Minshew, just to see if he would bite on that. I think that's the end of my story. You guys can comment. You can do whatever you want. That's the end of my story.
Hard to comment on a trade involving Shark when you just draft him on your team and just kind of have him starting every week.
Fair enough.
Top 10 wide receiver.
Just fine.
I mean, that was out of your control. Yeah. So okay, but really, what is it? So it's Shark in a second for.
Well, so that was the original talked about offer, but I did Shark and Gerald Everett.
Okay.
Obviously, tight end premium. Can never get enough of tight ends, as we talked about, or Amari Cooper for Gardner Minshew. I don't think that Amari Cooper one's going to fly, but I went for it.
You have Shark.
No. We're trading
to
Gardner Minshew for Shark. Possibly.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I like it.
Yeah, me too.
John, do you like it?
Yeah. No, I'm good with that. Sorry, I'm still stuck on Shandy Dalton.
It's so funny.
It's like
so funny.
It's like a trailer park girl.
It's so funny.
Not an NFL quarterback.
Well, he's not an NFL quarterback.
Finley time.
run around the corner real quick. I'm gonna holler at Shandy real quick.
Hey, yo, Shandy.
Shandy. Hey, yo, Shandy.
That just reminds me of that song, what, from the 90s or early 2000s? Shaniqua don't live here no more.
No more.
Shandy, if you don't get the fuck out my apartment right now.
And why does she always have a Kool-Aid mustache?
Oh man. Them orange flaming hot Cheetos on her fingertips. Just wrong. Shandy wrong. You wrong. We tried to send out a trade for one of your boys, Stompy. And by one of your boys, I mean a guy that I think that you hate, but he does play for your favorite team. We've got a trade out there trying to get Drew Lock. We're trying to
No. I don't hate him. John hates him.
Okay, sorry. Yes. So we've got Mason Rudolph, and we're trying to trade Mason Rudolph for Drew Lock and a second next year.
No, I think that's.
Did they give you indigestion? Is that what
riveting trades?
I think that it works just because the second is probably the most valuable piece in that entire trade.
Oh my god.
Seriously, Drew Lock's going to be horrible. But I mean, what's Mason Rudolph at this point? Rest of the year, but beyond, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It depends on what you are trying to go for, right? So with Mason Rudolph, you get a starter for the rest of the season.
Yeah, certainly a starter of sorts.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, who are your other QBs right now? Is, I guess, a better question.
Goff, Brissett, Newton.
Okay. And
we're comfortable, I mean, after this Goff bye, we can ride out Brissett and Goff for the rest of the season. And the rule in Superflex, you can never have enough QBs, brother.
Correct.
Yeah.
We'll see about it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with John that he's going to be awful, but
yeah, he's gonna
John's also not very good at evaluating quarterbacks. So,
John Elway? No.
You.
I'm fine.
You're mediocre at best.
I was all over Aaron Rodgers.
You were all over Aaron Rodgers how many years ago? No, you were not.
Yeah, it was. That's all I talked about. I drafted him at 1.01 last year in the Scott Fish Bowl, 1.02 this year.
That's
in the Scott Fish Bowl.
Well, you were very wrong the first 6 weeks of the season.
But am I wrong now?
I'm jury's still out for me.
No, it's not.
It is.
He's right back on track. We're good.
We'll see.
Not to steer. Go ahead. Somebody.
No, it's fine. John is wrong. It's fine. You're the worst.
Just gonna throw it out there. I did send the trade over to dear old Rogue Hogue here.
Nice.
We'll see if Rogue Hogue takes this, Rogue Hogue is gonna have 5 2021sts if he takes this pick. If he takes this deal.
Ooh.
Throw that out there.
Oh man. That's a tough one. So we're looking at 2 2021sts and Preston Williams.
Hey.
And I love Preston Williams, CSU boy. Went to college about an hour from where I live.
Where I grew up.
You see me tugging at your heartstrings.
Yep, did that on purpose. That's playing the psychological side of this game for 100%. Sure. 100%. The problem is those 2 firsts you're offering me look like they could be possibly the 2 last picks of this entire draft. So that makes it pretty tough. I don't know that I can do that.
Okay.
But
okay.
Where do you evaluate Preston Williams, just out of curiosity?
I think that 3rd is probably about right.
Yeah.
That 2023 for Preston Williams, that feels like about like pretty good value.
What happens when he gets Tua next year?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm not totally sold on Tua. I know that's going to be
Okay. What happens if he gets Joe Burrow next year, or whoever you are sold on? Like, because they could be a lot of fun, or at least he could. I think. Anyway, sorry, I'm just dreaming
definitely.
for you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's tough. I mean, they still have a lot of guys that I like a lot. I mean, Albert Wilson is still there and finally healthy and got in the end zone this week. Mike Gesicki breakout could come in 2020. I don't know. There's just a lot there's a lot of unknown on that Dolphins roster at this point.
Stompy, real quick. How's that Albert Wilson singlet going for you? You got that made yet, or?
I don't. Let me look for it.
Okay.
Let me search for this. We'll
Okay.
It's a teal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was called like a aqua something, but I don't know.
All right. What Miami Dolphins wrestling singlet.
What what was this one again? Yeah. I remember seeing something about it, but I can't remember. It's odd that I tried to forget singlet, but
have you ever listened to a podcast, Gabe, and like something starts happening and it's literally like the audio embodiment of a train wreck as you're listening? So what he's about to tell you is literally what happened one day. And I was listening. I was like, he cannot be serious. He's about to say this. Oh my gosh, he said this. Anyway, go ahead, Stompy.
Listen, I didn't think, and I don't think, well, maybe
you said it. You said it.
I know I did, but I didn't think that the Miami Dolphins were going to be that bad. Regardless, I predicted that Albert Wilson would be a top 24 wide receiver this season.
Okay.
With Liz Loza was on Dynasty Diagnostic with us, and she was like, let's put a friendly bet wager on that, because I think she was one of the ones that saw that Miami's not going to be good at all. And she said, I tell you what, you have to wear a Miami Dolphins colored singlet and eat a child's birthday cake if Albert Wilson is not a top 24 wide receiver.
Like steal it from a child, like out from
no, like get one like one of those smash cakes, those small smash cakes. And
that's so random.
I agree.
Where did that come from?
You gotta ask her, man. I don't know.
All right, well.
So yeah, that's gonna happen.
Man, that was
real life.
And I will do it. Just for everybody. Ooh, there's some good ones on here, J Mike. I found one. Let's
take a peek. Screen share it. Come on. Can he do that? Can he do that? Or can we just do that?
I don't know. Look at the bottom of your screen, Stompy. Do you have the share screen option?
Yeah.
I'm not going to share audio.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share it.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Daddy.
I don't look nearly as good as that dude, but
yeah, Daddy. All right.
So yeah, that's gonna be me
live on the open bar Tuesdays 9:30 Eastern, just to show you a little sneak preview of.
So I'll be wearing that. Yeah, well, I'll be wearing that.
To be fair, we're only halfway through the season. You know, the Dolphins already had their bye, so they kind of they got an extra, little bump. So he could just have, Cooper Kupp numbers for the rest of the season and still be a top 24 wide receiver. I'm not counting out Albert Wilson at this point.
I am. He had one target on Monday night,
and it was for a touchdown, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at those. Look at all these.
Put it on black, baby. Let's go.
Oh, look at that one. Look at that junk.
I can't. It's gone.
Don't screen share that one.
Now it's just audio. Now they're really wondering.
Now you should be wondering.
Yeah.
That man said, "Look at that junk.
Look at that junk." I got a couple clips from y'all tonight. Yeah, what I said before the show started was not while we were recording. However, I have 2 clips of you two tonight saying some very interesting things that I'm going to use in the future. So thank you for coming on to the open bar tonight.
You're very welcome.
Oh, nice. We got some drops, huh? Nice.
Yeah. We need
Hell
it. Drops. I need to figure out how to do drops. Someone needs to tell us how to do drops. I bet Trader Joe could tell us how to do that.
Of course he can. He can do anything.
He really can. If y'all need anything, I don't even like anything. You've seen those trucks around town, like we do anything, or maybe that's just from my hometown with 8,000 people. There's literally trucks driving around with spray paint on the side of their 1982 Ford Ranger that says, "We'll do anything." There's probably a fantasy analogy somewhere in there. I think that's Albert Wilson, actually. The spray paint on there that I'll do anything to be a top 24 wide receiver.
No, I think I will do anything to make Albert Wilson a top 20.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. All right. Hey, so I thought of this since we're halfway through the season, and you're talking about trades. I don't know if you're in playoff contention, J Mike, or if you're just good at fantasy football and you want Amari Cooper on your team. But I'm wondering if there's any players out there that y'all are looking to acquire, possibly for a playoff run, or on the flip, a player that may be a bit cheaper now that you are have high hopes for going into next year.
I like that. One for the stretch run. I'm gonna get this one out real quick because everyone's been floating this of late. The late season Jets schedule is something to behold, apparently, in terms of just juicy matchups. The problem is the last 2 weeks of the regular season, last 2 weeks of your fantasy season, actually 15 and 16, they've got the Ravens and Steelers. But listen to this run of games they've got. The Jets are going to have the Dolphins, the Giants, the Washington professional football franchise, the Raiders, Bengals, and then the Dolphins again. That's beautiful. And then they end the season with the Ravens and Steelers, which is not great. But like somebody like Le'Veon Bell, since he's now going to be staying in New York, the question
that'll be
becomes,
really interesting, by the way. Adam Gase is like, I don't know, they didn't tell me about it. And it's like, oh, Adam Gase, what are you doing? Ugh.
But yeah, can you load up your Sam Darnold? Can you load up your Casper, the friendly ghosts, against that kind of stretch there?
What about Ryan Tannehill, the best QB in Tennessee?
Oh,
God. That's cheap, and if you need,
listen,
what's the schedule like? Schedule like?
So he's got Carolina next week, which Carolina's been awful lately. KC, bye week, Jacksonville, which obviously without Jalen Ramsey, not good. The Colts have not been the best. They've been okay, but then you have Oakland, Houston in weeks 14, 15, New Orleans in 16, and then Houston in 17. But that Oakland, Houston in the playoffs is pretty juicy. And if you can get Tannehill for cheap, it's not a bad way to go, especially if you're like streaming QBs.
What do you buy? What do you buy for? Pick wise.
One QB.
Well, whatever. No, there's no. Why would you do that?
Yeah, let's just stay with Superflex.
Yeah,
I would say a second.
Hey, Stompy, yeah. I've got Tannehill and TA6. If you got a second for your boy.
I don't have a second because I've traded everybody away, trying to win now.
That's right. Never mind.
Now I got Lamar and Dak as my QB 1 and 2, so I feel pretty good. Yeah. And Chris Carson,
electric playmaker,
and Tyrell the Gazelle.
And Tyrell. People coming at me about that garbage. Tyrell caught another touchdown last week. Like I don't I don't know why people don't think he's worth a first right now. He is the wide receiver 1 for Oakland.
This year, I think, is the issue. That's a lot of stock for something that is probably just a 1-year gig.
Man, but still, number 17 overall points per game, PPR. Hey, just saying.
There should certainly be some respect on his name, but I'm just not exactly sure how much.
Well, and by the way, I would spend more than a single first for Chris Carson at this point. So it was 2 firsts for Carson and Tyrell Williams. I think Chris Carson's probably worth a first and a second, maybe 2 firsts at this point, just because of his last 2 seasons. And that means Tyrell is probably the discounted player there. I mean, probably worth a second or a late first at the very most.
Yep. I feel you on that.
Essentially, Chris Carson.
Tyrell, that's a decent little buy, or Carson. Sorry, J. Mike, to put you off there, but some good buys for a playoff run, probably.
So actually, Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr., you got to wait 2 more weeks. They've got 2 more horrible matchups. But then after that, it looks pretty nice down the stretch.
But
Pittsburgh is a little tough, but then you've got Miami, you've got Cincinnati, you've got Arizona, and then Baltimore in the fantasy championships, but they'll get you there, and then you figure it out.
Then you figure it out.
Well, and that's when you get somebody like Ryan Tannehill.
Hardy Har, Mr. Brian Har, co-host of the Trade Addicts podcast. He's joined the chat. He threw out Cortland Sutton. If anyone is panicking,
if anyone would like
that
to
one,
bust some Suttons.
Hey, and then Trader Joe threw out Ian Thomas for next year. If Greg Olsen finally reclaims his, reprises his role as the crypt keeper and Tales from the Crypt. Perhaps he can go ahead and rest his weary bones while Ian Thomas takes over.
Let's go trade for every tight end, J. Mike. Let's go.
This is the time. Now is the time. Let's do it. Brian Har also says, I'm looking to acquire Saquon Barkley. Newsflash. Thanks for that.
That's true. He is.
Appreciate that, Har. Thank you for the heads up. We had no idea.
How about Geis? Are we going to give him another shot?
Hey.
You should really make those offers in week 2 or 3 or 4, but here we are. So
here we are.
What do y'all think?
Yeah,
I'm glad you asked that because I want to know the price on guys. Go ahead, Ho. Go for it.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be super cheap. That we went. I wish that James Brain could have made it here tonight because we went around with him quite a bit this offseason on Dalvin Cook. The fact that, he had the knee injury and then there were kind of those residual injuries that come with it. And I mean, he was kind of trying to treat them all as individual injuries, and it's not. It's all one big injury event. And once that's fully healed, you don't really have to worry about re-injury necessarily, not any more than anybody else. And I think it's the same thing here with Darius Geis. I think that it's a lot of missed time for sure, but it's all one injury event. He's taken the time to get fully healed, and you're going to get him at 100% with very little mileage on the tires at this point, and you're going to get him super cheap. So I think he's a buy right now.
I absolutely agree. I mean, you may have to pay a first still, but if you can get him for a second,
you might get him for a second.
Yeah, if you can get him for a second, I'd be buying, because the thing is, he came out young. Like it's not like he's an old running back. He is 22 right now. He has basically no quote unquote wear on his tires, though. I mean, I guess getting 2 knee injuries definitely puts wear on those tires. But he doesn't really have anybody to compete with him for touches. Bryce Love just had another knee surgery or is having another knee surgery. Chris Thompson's not an every down back. Adrian Peterson is 34 at this point. So he's not long for the league. So Geis looks like he's going to be a bell cow back sooner rather than later if he remains healthy.
And in the chat, the executive producer himself making an appearance here, Jake Anderson. What up, Jake?
Hey,
always
Jake.
good to see you, brother. Hoag's long nemesis, long lost nemesis.
Oh no! Trust me, I filled in for that.
Yeah, you've definitely filled the void. But yeah, Jake was yelling at me before it was cool to yell at me.
Okay, now it's cool to yell at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jake said he'd be shocked if anyone selling for less than the mid first.
Yeah, this close to coming off IR, that's certainly possible. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's worth a shot. If you might be able to get him still for a late first, early second. The problem is whoever's had him has had him for a while now and has been waiting for 2 years to unleash him. They might be about done with that.
What are the thoughts on, and Gabe, this is still playing off of your question. What about somebody like Darrell Henderson, who's seeing his workload increase in LA for rest of season and beyond? That is. No, not quite. All right.
Yeah,
didn't mean to kill the vibe, guys. All right.
I'd imagine he is cheaper than his late first price in the summer, or possibly a second price that you have recently purchased. I mean, it's got to be cheap. So,
but nobody's probably selling him at this point, right? I mean, not for that anyway. I'm just trying to figure out, because the second part of your question is what intrigued me. It's like, okay, who can you get now that's going to like launch from this point through into next season, right? And I think that's always
such a great time to put trades out.
Yeah. It's just a matter of who.
Well, I mean, so Deontay Johnson right now is starting to lift a little bit here.
Man, right?
So I really like him going forward. I like the rookie wide receivers. I mean, let's look at like N'Keal Harry now.
Now you like the rookie wide receivers, where in the preseason you hated this draft and you hated everything about it, and now you like the
that was a generic.
I'm messing with you.
That was a generic thing.
I thought you were going to go in on yelling at him, just stompy style. Come on, J-Mike.
Come on.
Do it. Get him.
Where, like,
get him,
if I can buy N'Keal Harry right now, going into the second half of the season, he's healthy, and going into year 2, where Peter Howard has shown that year 2 is kind of where a majority of wide receivers break out, or that's where they should be breaking out, and N'Keal Harry going into year 2. But if we look at like year 2 wide receivers right now, Cortland Sutton, Michael Gallup, and I'm sure I'm missing a ton right now.
Anthony Miller,
DJ Moore. Yeah, I mean,
just not Dante Pettis.
Did you just say Anthony Miller starting to break out?
No, I mean in my heart. That's about it.
I'm
actually on the field, sadly. Yeah.
But yeah, you get the idea where we're getting a lot of these guys starting to show a lot in their second season, and that's probably where we need to be looking, is the guys who had down years this year. N'Keal Harry, like I said, for one, that could prove to have a significant role as early as next season, is those guys that you need to start buying.
Jared Goff is a good kind of the most of that Rams offense is going to be pretty good, but Jared Goff is a nice buy low right now. For that same reason, it's been a relatively down year for the Rams, and I think they're going to bounce back. I don't think this is a permanent thing.
The one guy I forgot was DJ Chark. I don't know how I forgot DJ Chark.
In that same vein, Hogan, I'm glad you brought up Goff. speaking of guys to try to buy lower on before this Buffalo beatdown, Carson Wentz might have been someone that people might have been souring on, but also there's, if you have any semblance of like or anything for Sam Darnold, there's likely not going to be a lower time to get him than now, right? He says he's seeing ghosts. He looks bad. Then he turns around and plays the Jags, who were basically giving it up to Andy Dalton. We watched that live, Gabe and I. That was fun. And then they make him look bad in the fourth quarter. But Darnold throws 3 picks against them. And just like we said, with that stretch of games that's coming up, if you want Darnold, like, now's it. Like, if you have any semblance of liking him, like, go get him now before it starts looking real nice. That's my thoughts on that.
Especially with that schedule, he might start to look good again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're higher than what you bought him for.
Yeah. It's also, man, there aren't very many players who put it on a tee for us like this, as far as like a sales pitch. I mean, to get mono and start seeing ghosts like all in the same season, like that's about as good as it gets.
As good as it gets.
It's not even just a performance thing. It's like, man, this guy's really like, he's really going off the rails. He's got some really random stuff. You might want to get him off your roster now. Sell him to me for nothing.
I was gonna say, that kind of sounds like a sales pitch, bro.
That's what it's meant to be, for sure.
All right, Gabe, that's all I've got. I've run out of bullets.
Told you I stopped drinking.
Oh, all right. Yep.
You had a bullet? We had a bullet? Let's get out of here.
I wasn't looking at the screen to see that you weren't looking at me. It's like, oh,
well,
crap.
Some dead air.
We are professional podcasters.
Facts.
This is the open bar with.
Oh, hey, Ethan Turner. Ethan Mama Bear Turner's in the chat. Hey, what's up? The greatest PT of all time.
I agree.
Star healing.
I agree.
That's his catchphrase.
I don't know. I don't have anything. I don't have anything at all.
Any other grievances or anything else you guys want to cut the mustard for real quick?
We could have the conversation we've been having all season about about Tannehill versus Mariota. You want to have that fight here?
Mariota? I mean, he's on the bench. I don't know what you expect me to do.
Well, right. As he should be. The better player is playing.
I can't help that they benched him for a backup.
Well, now who's the backup?
I benched a backup for a backup.
Whatever. I mean, Mariota is still a better quarterback, but there's no way to prove it at this point.
No, there's no way to prove it ever. There's like literally no way you can prove it.
Yeah, because he got benched.
Yeah, no,
I mean, what do you want me to do?
There's no way to prove it before either. Correct?
I don't know about that.
I do. This is what we argued about before the season started, John Hogue.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Got bullets, J. Mike.
Maybe we should talk about Aaron
Mariota
Rodgers
versus Tannehill. This is spicy.
Yo,
James the Brain about Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, you were on that too.
I was not on that.
I had to hear about how he's old, he's washed up, he's garbage now.
Who said that?
You both of you said that.
I never said that.
Oh man, I'm gonna screenshot that and I'm gonna send it to you. Then I'm gonna send it to your mom.
To my mom.
Oh my goodness.
What does my mom have to do?
Not Mama Stompy. Dang.
Mama Stompy.
Going for the throat.
What does my mom have to do with it?
Wow. Pop the hood.
She needs to know what you're getting into when she's not around.
I don't even know what that means. There's a lot of implication or inference there. I don't know what that means. So
you take it however you want to take it.
Yeah,
you take it however you want to take it.
Kyle Sinra knows.
Yeah.
I just need John Hogue to admit that he was wrong.
About Aaron Rodgers, I obviously
No,
was not wrong.
About Ryan Tannehill or Ryan Tannehill and Marcus.
Ryan Tannehill, that's seriously, that's the
that will end this conversation forever.
Ryan Tannehill is the candy corn of quarterbacks.
I mean, you're wrong.
If that's really the if that's the cause that you want to take up,
embarrassing yourself at this point.
If that's the cause that you really want to take up, you can do it.
No, all I care about is you admitting that you were wrong about Mariota and Ryan Tannehill.
No, Ryan Tannehill is still not a good quarterback.
I didn't say he was a good quarterback. I never said he was a good quarterback.
I thought that's the entire point here.
No, the entire point is that Ryan Tannehill is better than Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, and he's not. He's not.
Y'all just gonna keep going in circles.
Yeah, y'all are not good.
Round 73 is a draw again. And I don't know if you guys alerted the Superflex Super Show bat signal or what, but all the homies from the squad came through this evening. Looks like and Big John McGlynn. What up, John? John hits us with this question since we're still chopping it up. Deshaun Hamilton, the route running wonder of so many. Super excited. Did he get goosed last week? Is that what it was?
Yep.
Yeah.
He did.
Not even a target. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
but no, he'll be fine at some point. They need to get a quarterback. Yeah. So, plan on 2020, maybe 2021.
Meanwhile, Fred Brown got some targets. And then everybody says, who?
Start stashing Tim Patrick, by the way, coming off IR.
That's true.
But yeah, for the moment, Deshaun Hamilton he's in jail a little bit with this quarterback situation. Just being, and it just got worse with Joe Flacco going down probably for over a month and a half. It's gonna be a while.
The Broncos are kind of secretly a team with a lot of players in that top 100 of ADP again, J Mike, like the Browns. I mean, Deshaun, that's not necessarily there anymore. He certainly was respected at some point. Maybe he will gain some through the second half of the year, but certainly Cortland Sutton, Royce Freeman, Phillip Lindsay, Noah Fant. I mean, sheesh.
Noah Fant. Come on, Noah. I need you to start. This is the time.
Catch the ball.
Anyway, sorry. This is the time, Noah. I need you to. This is it. Jake Anderson. I'm here for Noah Fant's breakout.
Yes.
We all are, Jake. We are one heartbeat on this one.
That game against Kansas City just he had so many good looks and he just dropped the ball. Literally and figuratively.
You're not disappointed at all about that. The Ethan Turner and just I shouldn't even go back to this. Crap, I'm going to. Ethan Turner is Tannehill, unlike Jonnu, so for that he's better than Mariota.
Oh, come on.
On that alone.
Damn it. Yeah. Ethan has definitely jumped right into this super show as being a Mariota hater. That's apparently that's the prerequisite to podcast with me. So yeah, that's fine. A backup tight end did something cool.
Well, so whatever.
I've got something to posit for this since we're here. The scariest thing that you've seen so far this fantasy season, since obviously Halloween's a couple days away, and I'll share mine while you guys chew on yours. Scariest thing I've seen this fantasy season that really does not make me feel great at the moment. We watched the ascension of one Terry McLaurin. Guys getting open left and right. He looks really good, catching a lot of balls. And everyone was excited. We're all excited about Dwayne Haskins getting in and the rapport that they have from Ohio State, things of that nature. And of course, Haskins comes in on short notice with Keenum getting hurt, and it just did not look good at all. So the scariest thing is, in the event that Case Keenum is not the starting quarterback for Washington for the rest of this season, I'm scared of what that does to F1 as they've called it this season. He's been really good. He's really good. I like McLaurin, and I was way off on McLaurin preseason, but he's good. But Haskins in there kind of makes me nervous.
Yeah, Haskins is a big old yike burger deluxe.
Huge.
But I also don't understand Washington. Like, throw him. I don't know. Maybe it's not right to throw him in there. Well, what's the treatment here for him? I know. It seems he's just not NFL ready. Do you let him sit? But is he sitting behind the right people, behind the right organization? Like, it's just, ugh.
That's what's baffling, right? So, and maybe this is something that this is something that has to be part of our non-point scoring season analysis, if you will, or even when we're coming into the draft. We've got to start, or at least me, I can't speak for everybody. I've got to start being mindful of specifically quarterbacks that are going to these situations where coaches are like, okay, like they're really close to being fired, and if they're fired, like, maybe that's a good thing for the quarterback, or maybe it's not. But like, to start your NFL career with so much tumult in your life or in your professional life, not a great look, right? Sam Bradford, 5 offensive coordinators, 5 seasons. Mariota, five seasons, 5 offensive coordinators. Winston's probably close to that too. No, he had Cutter for a while. It was just bad. But regardless, like that's a bad look. Like, that's a really bad look. And like, I should have been mindful. But and what kills me is Case Keenum of all people, who obviously had so much fantasy success in Minnesota, is the one that's unlocking F1. And and here we are, wanting Case Keenum so badly to play just so we can make sure that Terry McLaurin gets his and becomes who we want. Washington scares me. Anyway, what do you guys have?
Kerryon Johnson scares me. Two season-ending knee injuries in his first 2 seasons. Has a history of injuries going back into college. I mean, he was scary in the first place because he definitely was not getting the touch share, the RB touch share that we wanted from him. And now he's dealing with, like I said, back-to-back seasons where he's ended the season on IR. And that just concerns me moving forward, because especially with Matt Patricia trying to implement a New England type of offense there, or a New England type of team there, where they're going to use multiple running backs. I just feel like maybe they go in again and get, or that Detroit goes in and gets a running back in a very deep class, and that kind of takes away from Kerryon next season.
I agree. Yeah, Kerryon is kind of the worst case scenario that could happen for someone like Todd Gurley, and you certainly saw it happen with Kerryon this year, unfortunately.
Well, Ethan makes a good point. It actually goes all the way back to high school's injury history.
Yep. Yeah, I remember seeing, I believe it was Ryan McDowell tweeted out those just year after year after year, something with Kerryon, unfortunately. And not just Kerryon, we've said it before, but no running back is safe with this draft class. Kerryon's definitely at the top of, middle to top of the list, but there are certainly many, many others. Hogue, what you feel?
Man, I've got a few of them that I'm kind of wrestling with. I'm gonna go with Zach Ertz. It scares me quite a bit, and more the Dallas Goedert scares me for Zach Ertz purposes. I believe we've got 2 touchdowns all year from Zach Ertz at this point. Dallas Goedert is definitely vulturing the touchdowns, and now, I mean, just kind of becoming the bigger threat, the bigger target. It helps that I think Zach Ertz is in a contract year.
Zach Ertz has 1 touchdown, by the way.
1 touchdown. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Not good. So, I mean, the kind of the best case scenario would be that we get Zach Ertz out of Philadelphia. But in the meantime, I mean, there are people drafting him in the second round, depending on scoring and bonuses and stuff. Early second round in some cases. And I mean, that entire elite tier of quote unquote elite tier of tight ends has been pretty brutal. But Zach Ertz, I mean, there's no real reason to believe that there's regression coming. Whereas with Kelsey and Kittle, those guys still have a monopoly on the job. They're still the top target in their respective offense. But with Ertz, I mean, there's reason to believe here that we might not get anywhere close to what we've been getting as far as target share, as far as the scoring. We're not going to get that anymore.
What about you, Gabe?
Scary.
Mm-hmm.
Let's flip it. You guys are so negative. You're so negative. It scares me that Chris Godwin and Mike Evans just can't decide who wants to be the 1A or 1B on their team. 2 top 5 wide receivers, and Jameis Winston isn't better than Patrick Mahomes. Like, what in the world is happening?
I refrained from going
That's
after
scary.
Jameis Winston for once when it's supposed to be something scary. I mean, I always just kind of tend to go after Jameis Winston. I thought I'd give him a break, but if we're going to bring it up, yeah, I mean, we're seeing that it's possible for a quarterback to be completely inept and still support 2 fantasy wide receivers. But I mean, that's kind of best case scenario. So as far as scary goes, did you guys see the clip of Brashad Perriman wiping out I believe it's Peyton Barber on that was Jameis Winston sending him in motion and then snapping the ball and making them run into each other, and just it was literally a scary collision. And that's what you get with Jameis Winston. That's the type of critical thinking. That's his best attempt at critical thinking led to that play.
And shout out to Aton. Aton was big on Winston coming into the season. And just the other day, I forgot which chat it was we were in, but he was like, I take back everything nice I ever said about Jameis Winston.
He's so bad.
Oh, it was funny. It was funny. Anywho.
So is it that anyone can make this happen because Godwin and Evans are so good, or is it that Winston is a don't give a shit QB? That, I mean, that one ball he threw up to Mike Evans for like 40 yards into like 5 guys, and Evans still caught it, went up and caught it and toe tapped.
YOLO. YOLO ball.
So many YOLO balls. So is it? I think we can all kind of agree that Evans and Godwin are good. What does he have to do, James? But do we still feel comfortable with another QB going into next year? Because I'm not sure if it's going to be one of those first round QBs that we're starting to talk about. It might be a bridge QB that is a free agent, coming in next year, or just a inexperienced rookie. Like, do we still feel good about Mike Evans? Maybe not both top 5, but how do we feel?
That's a good question. Like, what? And this isn't to pick on Mariota, but do you? No, it's not. I mean, do you trust?
Then why even bring him up?
Because he's a free agent.
You did that on purpose. I know you did.
Free agent next season.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a great bridge QB.
So, I mean, do you think that Mariota or do you think Godwin and Evans produce the same with Mariota? I don't, because like you said, I think there's a don't give a shit attitude with Jameis, where he's just like, nope, I'm chucking this. And that's why we get so many interceptions from him, is he just makes some stupid decisions, but he chucks the ball. And I just don't think you're getting that with Mariota. And I don't think it's necessarily, even if Mariota is in a Bruce Arians offense, I don't necessarily think that you're getting the same production.
No, that's actually fair. I mean, guys, Cam Newton might make some sense there. You definitely want more of a. I mean, that offense is meant to be kind of high volume passing. Definitely some deep passing. Mariota wouldn't be a fit. I will grant you that.
How about let's look at some other 2020 unrestricted. How are there so many? Is this true? Am I looking at the right year? What in the Drew Brees, Tom Brady? All these guys are.
I don't think Brady is.
It says.
No, I think he is. Yeah, he'll be unrestricted after the season, but I mean, he's not going anywhere.
No, sure, but I'm just looking at these QBs like, wow, there's a lot. Eli, Phillip, Teddy Bridgewater, any of those guys that like Eli especially is kind of interesting.
Is he?
I'm just saying, like, I think you could argue that he's better than Mariota, or maybe not. I don't know, but like he has supported, top wide receivers before. He has been a top QB before. He could be in a don't give a shit mode as well. I don't know. I don't know if that's what's required for them to succeed, but
Bridgewater's interesting.
Yeah,
but I think. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Breeze. If Breeze retires after this season, I think Bridgewater stays in New Orleans. But if not, Bridgewater is interesting because he's definitely shown up and helped New Orleans this season. I don't know if it's just going to be tough because like I said, Winston just chucks the ball. And he throws it, and while it's good at times especially for fantasy, and I don't think anybody's denying that he's a good fantasy quarterback, but I don't know if any other QB is going to just chuck the ball, like just throw it up there for Godwin and Evans to catch.
But they're also good, so it's like. It's like, how is it that we are possibly going to see their peak, as a tandem with like this don't give a shit QB, whereas maybe we have the whatever best QB of all time. I don't care that goes to Tampa Bay next year. If it's Joe Burrow, like that he's the next best QB and he still is only putting out, 2 top 24. Like, how is it Jameis Winston? You feel like you could unleash them even more, and it's just, man, that's nuts.
There's a good analogy in the chat from Jake. Winston's like playing Techno Bowl, running it backwards to the 1 yard line just so you can play more offense. That's perfect. That's exactly what it is. Oh, we're behind by 20 points. That means I got to throw it more. Good.
That's about right. There were some really interesting names that were thrown about in the chat. Just in terms of, hey, who takes over in Tampa? And I was just trying to think about, my mind was only thinking of, okay, who's got a big arm, because Arians likes to typically go vertical, right? That's been the name of his game typically. And they had brought up Dalton, Trader Joe did. And other names that came up, they said, hey, Mariota, what would happen if he went down there? But then the name that I felt like was most interesting was one by Mr. Ethan Turner, Nick Foles. Nick Foles.
Hey,
that's
gonna be a trade though of sorts, and I don't know if they're gonna want to take on that cap.
That's a lot.
I mean, maybe
it does. I know. I think we've talked about before that it changes after a certain time next year, so it wouldn't be as bad necessarily. But
so Andy Dalton's
is
fifth
cheap
in the league in passing yards, just FYI, and he plays basically the same as Jameis, where he has to throw the ball because they're so behind so often.
Oh man, I find it interesting how this is going to work out. And Jake brings up an interesting point, saying that basically this is their peak in terms of Evans and Godwin. And hey, if you don't think Winston's going to be there, if that's the bet that you're placing, then you might want to go ahead and sell Evans and Godwin, because it's likely not going to get better than this for both of them, maybe one of them. But this is really interesting.
Isn't that a weird argument?
This is a really this has so many layers. It's interesting. I really like that.
It's totally true. I mean, this probably is the sell window for those guys. The problem is, this is where the pro game and fantasy kind of collide a little bit, because I mean, for fantasy purposes, Jameis, he does support those guys where, no one else really would. But the problem is, you can't, from an NFL perspective, you can't trust him to win games. I mean, the decision making is just so bad, and I can't imagine that they feel like, there's anything that they can do. I mean, they've put weapons all around him, and they're still losing games. You can't run a 2-minute drill with him. You can't trust him to, and he doesn't have that clutch gene at all. All the things that it takes to actually win in the NFL, he can't do. He's great for fantasy, at least for his weapons, not, him himself. But, it just makes it really hard to believe that anybody's going to want to actually go into an NFL season with him as a starting quarterback, knowing that, it's when it's time to put the game in his hands, you're in for a loss.
I think Andy Dalton's an interesting one, though. Looking at his contract, they might really, especially since they're benching him on his birthday, they might release him after the season with just a $200,000.
Oh yeah, no,
excuse me, no cap. That was this year. They could have done that this year, so they could totally do it next year for free.
They may end up with the number 1 pick. I believe that Miami and Cincinnati play later this season, and they may end up. They are so bad, and the Dolphins have actually looked relatively decent the last 2 games. The Bengals might end up with the number 1 pick, and if they don't go Tua, I don't know what they're doing.
With your fantasy championship on the line, week 16, Bengals traveling to Miami.
With your fantasy championship on the line. You're a fool.
just throwing that out there.
That's great. That should be, I want to do that one with, if I make it to a championship with some, like in a home league, I say, let's drop everyone. Let's go draft Dolphins and Bengals. Let's go.
I'd love to see both of those teams get their winless and just like see how this plays out. How are they? I mean, at that point, you've got to be fully committed to tanking. You've got to be fully committed to 0-16, and that if you win this game, it costs you 1.01. So I'd love to see how they approach it in that scenario. I don't know that it'll happen that way, but man, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I just know I'm smashing the over on that game. Whenever the line comes out, just smash the over.
2 points at a time.
Yeah,
about YOLO balls,
safeties.
Just like run again back to Tecmo Bowl, but this time you run all the way out of the end zone. Just like every play.
Where is that game?
In Miami.
Yeah.
I'm going. Miami in December. It's gonna be the greatest game of the year.
Oh man, let's see. This is going to be so it's basically the tank bowl at that point, right? Who gets the number 1 pick?
Wow.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, fight more. What do you think about Ryan Finley?
Ryan Tannehill?
This is no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they should have happened.
Rogue Hogue, man.
I just hear I hear the name Ryan, and I just get this facial tick.
Really triggered. I mean, this needs to happen. This should be happening in Miami. I don't know what they're doing in Miami, but Rosen should not be on the bench.
I'm not sure what the strategy is either.
But yeah, I mean, this should have happened when the Bengals went 0-4, because you could very easily tell, oh, these guys aren't going to do. I mean, week 1 they gave the Seahawks a run for their money, but after that they've been dominated ever since. So this should have been happened a long time ago to see what you have in Ryan Finley, and this should be happening in Miami too. I don't really have anything to say about Ryan Finley. I haven't really seen him play, but we'll see. But this is exactly what should be happening, because it's very obvious that Andy Dalton is not the answer in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there is an answer.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well look at it. You're getting a whole new quarterback next year either way, I think. So, you get to decide here. Is it with a first round pick or with a, second or third round pick? Is Finley someone that we can actually start next year, or do we need to just completely clear the deck and go all in with that first overall pick? So you might as well find out.
Maybe he made Kelvin Harmon look good. Huh?
We'll let you talk about that one. Let's talk about Joe Mixon, though, and the usage of Joe Mixon, which is absolutely perplexing in Cincinnati. I don't know what it looked like this past week. He did get 4 targets, but
this is his best game of the season. His best fantasy output of the season was this week.
Yeah. And previous to this game, he was only running 8 routes a game. And anybody who watched Joe Mixon in college and last year knows that one of his best assets is his pass catching, and you aren't using him to one of his strengths. And I think a lot of people, including me, thought he would be the Todd Gurley in the Zach Taylor, Sean McVay offense, and that's just not happening. And I understand that the offensive line is struggling, but the offensive line was bad last season, and Joe Mixon was a top 10 running back. And this is much like David Johnson, Mike McCoy last season in Arizona, where you are not using your running back to his strengths.
Oh, everything starts and ends right now with the offensive line in Cincinnati. They're horrendous, absolutely horrendous. So no one. There's not an answer at quarterback until that gets fixed. There's not an answer for Joe Mixon until that gets fixed. Everything's basically on pause until they address that. Jonah Williams, obviously, hopefully he comes back and he's healthy next year. Their pick, but it was to watch them weekly is such a sad commentary. It's awful. It really is. Cincinnati. I'm sorry. That's all I got with them. Gabe, I see what you've done. You've drug us into the 2-hour mark. Is what you did
every time. Can't stop me.
It was sneaky, and it was. I got to give you props. It was good. But we got to go.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull an outhouse and say I'm tired. I need to go to bed.
That's not true. Outhouse goes for the record every time that he comes on.
He's here. Yeah,
he's trying to go for 3.
on his pod, he's like, "Yeah, I'm tired. I'm going to bed." But here, he's like, "No, it's my night out. I'm going up."
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
Don't say goodbye without blowing me a kiss, Stompy. And let's do some outros, some things.
He really blew you a kiss too. Okay,
I know. Right. Yeah. Ayo. Da na 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 na. I'm gonna replace that beer opening with a kiss. All right, this was just absolutely phenomenal. We got this. We're just super flexing tonight, fella. We dove deep in them QBs. I tell you what. Shall we start with? And this is in no order of which I rank these people in terms of who evaluates QBs better. I'm just throwing it out from left to right because that's just how the brain is going. John Hogue, please start with what you'd like to say to the people, to everyone listening.
That kind of threw me off, Gabe. I don't know why you had to say it like that, but
I went everywhere with that.
Yeah, check out the Super Flex Super Show 5 days a week. I'm not on all of those, but I'm on several of them, and Stompy's on some, and sometimes we're on together, and it gets pretty weird. And then we also do the FF Mercs live show on Sunday morning, so check that out and bring start sit questions every Sunday morning at 9:30 Eastern.
11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central.
9:30 where I'm at.
Yes.
Yeah, in the forgotten time zone here in the mountains. Yeah, that's all I got. But also just awesome to be back with you guys. Two of my absolute favorites. So, and then Stompy.
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, Stompy was here too.
Segway. Stompy, your turn. I'm saying your name second.
I don't know how much I have to add. Go check out ffmercs.com. Check out what we have available to you in terms of our services. You can always ask us questions as well. And then Dynasty Diagnostic. Eitan and I record once a week. We don't really do like the normal in-season stuff in terms of start sits, waiver wire. We stick more to the dynasty side of things and how a given week can impact a player's dynasty values and what you should be doing with certain players and what's going on around the league. So yeah, that comes out every week. Send us your rosters. We always like to break down your rosters and give our show our lack of car knowledge, if you will.
I ain't changed my oil in weeks.
I'll change your oil.
Yeah. Already.
Well, aren't you two just a couple dipsticks? Okay.
Just keep the puns coming.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you so much. Say hello to James the Brain for us, if you could. And J Mike, what do you have to say, my friend?
Yeah, golly, man. I've in the last couple of weeks, I feel like I've just been looking forward to these Tuesday nights so often of late. We've constantly got fantastic people, and for me, it's most fun when we have. Obviously, I love having new people, but it's always most fun when we have people that we love to chop it up with, people that we enjoy doing this FF journey with, and these are two of my favorite people. Got to meet them this summer in Canton at the Midwest FF Expo. I've even got pictures to prove it, Gabe. But it was a good time to be able to meet them in person and chop it up. So I'm just grateful for these two guys. Thank you guys for being with us. All the best to James and his family and with everything that's going on there. But as far as the show goes, to the chat, man, you guys kept it lit. You guys kept it light. You kept it fun for us. We appreciate you all. Brian Haar and Ethan Turner still trying to combine to break the record whenever they come back on the show record, which I can't remember what 2 hour and what minute mark that they need to get to for that, but they are here. I'm not gonna tell them. They're pretty convinced they're going to, but regardless, chat, you guys were great. Appreciate you all so much. To everybody that's checking us out on podcast form, whether it be Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is, thank you for rocking with us. Hopefully we're making your commute a little bit more cheery. We're making your time at the gym, helping you grind out those last 0.2 miles to get to that marathon 26, because you guys are savages if you're doing that. Or whatever it may be. We appreciate you guys rocking with us. Share it with a friend, rate and review if you'd be so kind. We certainly appreciate that as well. theopenbar.storenvy.com. You can find all of our merch and things of that nature there. Obviously, I've got the dummy blitz that I'm about to record right after this. Happy to be able to do that over at the DFPN at work, the only at work in town, to be able to chop it up with the Dynasty Dummies and that crew there. So humble to do that. Got a special gift that's going to be coming out for my guys in the Kamikaze League as well. I finally got the audio to be able to. Never mind, I'm not even going to spoil that. I'm gonna drop that on them soon. But anywho, we appreciate you all. On Twitter, you can find me at JMikeCheck, at JMICCheck. You can find the show's handle at the Open Bar Pod. And you can find my main man, the host with the most, Bun G, Genius, the MC, Mr. Gearing, if you're an adolescent in Texas, in a Texas middle school near you. Gabe on Twitter at FFManBun. Genius, Bungie, take us home.
You know, when you said the pictures bit with, you know, these two fools down here, whatever, you got pictures with them. Did we do that? Did we do that at all? Do we have, like, I guess I remember taking a couple.
I got one picture of us at the game.
Yeah.
I got one. I think you got one.
Gabe is getting jealous. Gabe's getting jealous, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, well, I did it too."
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him before.
So we actually in our time together when for those that don't know, a couple weekends ago, Gabe came up, stayed the night at my house. We went to the Bengals Jags game, watched our beloved Jaguars do work. He spent basically the entire day with my daughters on Saturday, tea parties and everything in between. So Uncle Gabe is the man around here. They are big fans of Uncle Gabe, wanting to look at the Snapchat filters and everything else. But I even got a video of Gabe eating one of the Cincinnati's delicatessens, if you will. Skyline chili. Skyline chili. And for a guy that does not, obviously, if you think about Texas chili or chili that most people think of, and you have something like Skyline, they're not the same. So to watch Gabe, and I have a video. I should put this on Twitter for the people to see. As he's eating it, you can see the wheels turning where he's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but this is not right. Like, this is really weird. we were me, him, and John Bosch. What up, Bosch? We got lunch together that day, and I'm gonna post that video because your face, every time I watch it, I just cry laughing. Anyway, sorry, Gabe. You're supposed to be taking this.
No, I mean, yeah.
Now I gotta know what is Skyline chili?
Oh man,
So obviously,
you ever had a three-way before, my friend?
No. so you still have to explain this, I guess. And other things now.
No, I mean, I'd imagine a lot of the people's answers are no. It's not any shade towards you. It's a rare occurrence. It's also a rare occurrence to come out alive, having eaten Skyline chili. So I mean that's one of their menu items is a 3-way, 4-way, 5-way, and basically just describes the toppings that you're putting onto your noodles and chili, like soup chili. It's not like chunky. I don't even know if it has meat in it, and if it does, I'm not gonna want to know what kind. And look, like I'm not a hater on fast food at all. Like I'll smash on fast food, whatever. I just didn't know what it was, and so and I still don't know what it is, and it's so fucking weird. It is spaghetti with like cinnamon flavored chili,
Chili flavored water. Huh.
but it's like and they told me it's like a Greek thing. So I brought this up and I said, well, that's so unique to me because you have Greece and you have Italy next door, and Italy's pretty good at pasta, right? Has sauces on things and whatnot. And then Greece just goes and fucks it up and puts chili on their noodles. Like, what?
Yo,
I'm tell you right now who lost the Greco-Roman War.
Not just a math teacher, but also the history teacher. There you go.
I don't know. It wasn't like terrible either. It's fucking weird. Like you have to have it. You just have to have it. I can't even.
Man,
I don't know. And I had conies, so I couldn't do like the spaghetti thing. Just like weirded me out, and I couldn't do it because I've just had spaghetti too much in my life. I got my meat sauce down. I know what oregano is. Like I can't.
I know what oregano is.
I just love the glee coming from J Mike right now.
It's so funny. I just wish I could have been there when it was happening. Oh my gosh. I'm done. I'm sorry.
That's my favorite part of this is just losing it.
He was so
he knows how fucking weird it is. He knows it because we had he picked me up. We had a conversation about chili, and that Skyline is there's chili, and then there's like Cincinnati chili spots that are like edible, and we're not sure Skyline is entirely edible. So he knows what I'm talking about.
Right. I'm not really a Skyline fan, but that is the thing around these parts. And if you go in thinking that it's actually chili, so like I think Stink's green chili in Colorado. I don't know if you've ever had that. That's one thing, right? You have Texas chili. That's another thing. But here in Cincinnati, people who are local to Cincinnati will fight you over some Skyline chili. And it's not, if you go in thinking that it's actually chili, like traditional chili per se, you'll be wildly disappointed. But if you go in knowing kind of what's going on ahead of time, you'll be okay. So hopefully Gabe's stomach has bounced back from the monstrosity that had to deal with. I couldn't imagine flying on a plane after eating that for the first time. That might have been. I
had some worries for sure. I ended up all right. I've definitely had worse, and like I said, it wasn't like bad. Like the conies, like I've had chili dogs before, but there's like this like hint of cinnamon on it that's just like, what's going on? But all right, so go try Skyline if you want.
Nope.
It's like their
I'm
their
good.
motto. Try Skyline if you want.
if you want to, I guess maybe.
I might. Now I'm married, so I can't try a 3-way. So I guess it is Skyline. Like,
why can't you try a 3-way? You need to talk to your wife about that.
Yep.
Trust me, I've tried. It doesn't work. I even put it in our wedding vows.
Did you?
Still,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
No go.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Why did we start the show like this?
I'm just now finding out that Skyline is a thing. If I had known 2 hours and 18 minutes ago, yeah, we would have started like this.
Right. All right. Ugh. I should have got some merch though, some Skyline merch. Just really. All right. This has been great. We will probably be here next week. It is no longer October. We will be in November. We will be more than halfway through the fantasy season, including the championship that is, that we shall all be representing. The Vamps will. Ayo.
Bengals fans.
What's that?
Bengals fans. Load them up. Week
Thanks,
16.
Vince. God, I can't wait. I'm seriously so excited. All right. We have a store, theopenbar.storeenvy.com. We have some shirts on there. Haven't had one in a while posted, but they're still there. They're fun. Shoot, what else? Intros. I've been doing those. Just dropped a few this week for the people. I love my people out there. Thank you. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for accepting me. Thank you for popping the hood. All right. That's it. I think that's it, J Mike. Anything else? Shall we
That'll do you. A little
okay.
dollop of daisy, do you?
Dollop of daisy, baby. Let's cheers to the camera, to the people watching, to the people listening, whether you are drinking coffee, whether you are having that representing China Bach straight out of Texas. Ooh, and then the old milk stout at it. I gotta come to St. Louis sometime.
Yep.
But that's for another day. I don't know what kind of fucking chili that St. Louis has.
No, we just have Italian food and all
yeah.
sorts of good stuff.
Okay, all right. They got barbecue in St. Louis.
You bet.
All right, because like KC St. Louis, I feel like that's a beef or something.
It is.
Pun
yes,
intended.
It is.
Okay. All right. All right. That's it. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Goodbye. This is the open bar. We will see you all next week. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Deuces.